We had this car pull up from Saudi Arabia, pop the frunk, and there's like rat droppings all over the frunk, and it stinks. Like, I cannot stand here. It looks like what's happened is he's left the frunk open to charge the battery, and at some stage a rat has crawled in there and not been able to get out. So it's had a long, slow, painful death in the frunk. We're gonna pull the frunk out now to see if we can locate the dead rat, because there's 100% something dead in there. It stinks, and get that sorted. Hopefully he's not chewed through too many cables.
We see everything in Infinit. We work on everything, we see everything. Huh?
Your friend is in there.
Your friend. We get bullied.
During the day, we fixed cars, and during the night, we do pest control. So we have found in this 765 LT that just turned up today, it looks to be what has actually happened here. This little or big rat found its way inside. It then, decided let's go into the battery area and fuck around and find out. The problem is everything is sealed in a McLaren. So once you're in, it's very difficult to get back out unless you go the same way. Obviously he gets in here and all of this is sealed. We've obviously removed the covers now. He's made his way all the way to the back, which is very impressive. Through here, all the way under here, and then he's been chilling up here until unfortunate death. He's not been able to chew his way out of the aluminium tub or the aluminium chassis. Unfortunately, whilst our rat was having a little vacation in this 765 LT, it has chewed through some cables. He's chewed through the battery cable. This is the battery cable. He's chewed through the hydraulic APMU valve block. Crazy. There's like rat shit everywhere. I've never seen so much rat shit. So this is chewed through. This is chewed through. The battery cable is chewed through. These are like the bonnet latch cables. I think they're chewed through. This 765 that came from a service will unfortunately now need to undergo a massive and extensive rewire. But nothing we can't handle. Just a walk in the park. First 600 LT that we've built. This is running our stage 2 track package. So there's downpipes on there, catless downpipes, air filters, and our tune. So it has the M tuner suite on there. We've got map switching, so it's got the stock map, it's got a track map where we run the car super rich to keep the engine cool. We also have a street map, which is, for street. This should make around 600 wheel, but again, I haven't tuned the 600 LT before. This is our first one. We also installed the cooling package upgrade because this is going to be mostly used on the track. It's got upgraded radiators, and it also has a race grade coolant in there. We installed a limited slip differential on there too. And last but not least, we installed gyro disc rotors. Because it's going to be mostly used on the track, ceramic discs are not so cost effective. You're better off having steel rotors on there because they're more cost effective to replace. You can replace the disc on its own. The factory has an open differential, so that means it doesn't have a differential that can lock. So how does it stay in a straight line? Well, if one side is spinning faster than the other side, it pulses the brakes on that side to slow that wheel down and bring it in line with the other wheel. But this is a passive system, so it waits until the wheel starts spinning and then it applies the brakes. So with it being a passive system, it can only be so good. And as we turn the power up on these cars, it can't react as fast, right? But what a limited slip differential does, it's a mechanical part that gets installed onto the car. You've seen all those videos with the Mustangs where they're going in a straight line and suddenly they change lane and they go into the wall. With a limited slip differential, what it's doing is it's keeping the wheels rotating at the same speed, right? The reason why a Mustang goes in a straight line and suddenly changes direction is because it's driving straight, suddenly one wheel loses grip and it starts spinning faster than the other one. So if it's going in a straight line and one wheel starts spinning faster than the other one, say it's the right wheel, it will now change direction to the right, right? Because The wheel on the right is not only spinning faster, it also has no traction. With the left wheel now having more traction than the right wheel, it changes the direction of the car and causes it to go into the wall. We don't want to go into any walls with the McLaren. That's why we install a limited slip differential. It makes the car a lot more predictable. So when the wheels do start spinning, they will spin together. This obviously helps a lot on the track as well. When you're coming out of a corner, you'll feel once you've had the LSD installed, it'll push you out of the corner. It's a really crazy feeling to go from an open diff to a limited slip diff, because it's like someone is pushing you from behind. Whether you're stock, tuned, you know, stage 3, it's a great upgrade for any McLaren. But yes, let's dyno this now. We'll dyno in the street map first up to see what power it makes.
Tears in my eyes, man. I did not think that this car would do this. There is no other McLaren in the world other than a 600 LT that can give you this feeling.
Cool, huh? I want one. Imagine we've not even like, it's just a stage 2. It's like downpipe tune. If I get one of these, 4-liter converter, I'll keep it on stock turbos for sure. And yeah, let it rip. Stock, it makes 550 wheel. With our stage 2 on there now, it makes 635 wheel. Say 650 wheel, give or take. 40 degrees today. I think that's pretty good numbers. You're about almost 80 to 100 wheel horsepower up over stock, and it sounds fucking insane. Imagine you're driving along and you see those flames coming out the back. One of the really cool things about the 600 LT, every time you downshift, you get that downshift pop. Sounds so good. It's so cool. I really want one of these. Parts of the job, test driving cars. Obviously after we build a car I have to test drive it to make sure that everything's 100%. Now one of the good things about that is, having owned the McLaren for since 2019, 2020, I know what a McLaren should drive like. Like there have been times where a McLaren comes in and it's not right, but the customer doesn't really know that it's not right. Like driving and seeing flames coming out the top of the car at the back is nuts. The Porsche is finally getting some love again. Just came back from NBN. We tinted it. I wasn't feeling the aquarium look. So fun fact, there's a big difference in tint film. Always use XPEL tint. Like when you go for aftermarket tint or like these other funny brands or Chinese films, the clarity is not as good. Like the clarity on an XPEL film, it's a lot better than the other stuff in the market. We also lowered it now, so it got a lowering kit. It sits so much better, man. Like I'm so happy with it. Like before I was like, something looks wrong with the car. Like why is it so high up? You know, it looks like a family saloon. But no, now it looks really good. Just lowering and tint, and look what a difference it made. I like the car again. I was starting to not like the car because in a room full of McLarens, it's not a very pretty car to look at stock. Alright, so the Porsche is back. That's with the Zona turbos installed now, and of course all of the stage 2 hardware, which is the intakes, the intercoolers and the exhaust. First hit it made 760 wheel, second hit it made 740 wheel. That's obviously with the heat soak. Remember, Dubai summer, 40 degrees Celsius ambient. Looking at the curve, before even looking at the logs, I know straight away what I want to adjust. So the torque comes in really harsh here, basically overboost. We're going to smoothen that out and try and make a little bit more power up top to get a nice curve going on for it. My aim here is around 800 wheel on pump gas. Once we've tuned it on pump gas, we'll turn things up with race gas. Hope for around 900 to 1000 wheel on race gasoline. Again, without methanol, we don't do water meth injection kits. It'll just be pour and go. Summer in Dubai, 50 degrees. Hello boss. Could you be so nice to give me access, please? You know what I love about this part of the compound though? It's so quiet. Like, we have a lot more freedom on this side to fuck around. I haven't received the drawings yet for the warehouse, but also I wanted to verify how far the beams are from each other so I can start planning my layout, I guess. Okay, one of the things that I might end up doing with this place, I wanted to do it in my original facility in the UK back in 2019, and then I wanted to do it again. We launched our facility here. I wanted a nice polished concrete floor. I love a nice polished concrete floor. So you have that wall in the corner there. Obviously nothing can go there because you've got, you know, the main, the power feed, you've got the fiber cable coming in there, and you've got fire extinguisher safety bullshit coming in from there. So I can't touch that, because if I touch that, I need to relocate a bunch of bullshit that I don't want to do. It's just unnecessary headache. You have the main entrance here. So this is an electric door that will open and close. And then you have this. Initial thoughts are we will basically get rid of this and have an opening. We'll have like a roller shutter like our Dyno cell. Car drives in, it's in the wash bay here. And then we'll have maybe another roller door here. So the wash bay will be enclosed, and there'll be like, say, glass here, so you can see the car inside the wash bay. And then here we will have another bay, but for PPF, and then maybe a wall on that side, and then there will be another bay after that. It will be more like an office for the PPF plotter and, you know, the things that cut the materials for PPF. Really straightforward. So say all of this is wash bay, PPF bay, and the plotter bay. Here we'll have that section end, and then here we'll have like a nice, say it's like a studio for like a car. So maybe stick a turntable in as well. Let's see what the budget is like. And then the rest storage, everything storage. So just cars parked up along there. We'll probably paint the beams and the walls like black. We'll go for like a dark theme here. I actually came here today to measure how much space we have between these beams, because keep in mind they're going to build a wall here. Just because it says it's 5 meters on a drawing doesn't mean it's 5 meters in reality. Like, so always need to double check. Right. Okay, take it to this. Damn. I have 3 meters, 89. So, prime example of why you need to measure things. In the drawing it's like 4 meters 40, but in reality I only have 3 meters and 89. Which makes it quite small. I was hoping that I would be closer to 5 meters than 4 meters. So what we will need to do then is maybe, so I could extend it to here. So that will give me another 40 centimeters. So it looks like whoever was in here before, it looks like they had like some sort of turntable already, which is interesting. Bro, there's gonna be an electric go-kart track here. We can probably ask them for a go-kart, you know. They can maintain it for us as well.